can still buy a beer at your local 7-Eleven. The bad news is, again, that we are already practicing Sharia. But it's only bad news for those people that are not accepting of the otherness of the other. A lot of Texans, they regard anyone that is from outside the borders of Texas as foreigners, including Bob, I think. I mean, what's up with people from Boston and that accent? And New Yorkers with their coffee, let alone a Muslim imam lecturing us in his snobby British accent. It's a good thing you didn't applaud that.
We miss him. We miss him, man.
In fact, I want to let you know a secret. I know I'm going to sound like Forrest Gump, but I'm fixing my accent to sound more Texan. I think I do deserve some applause for that. The reality is that unless we are native Indian, we are the other. The USA, the great nation, is a melting pot of many cultures, languages, and backgrounds. And that's what makes this country great. You may have heard the phrase, American as apple pie. But apple pie, sorry to say this, it originates from Britain.
Yep.
And hot dogs, the staple food of the all-American game, from Germany. Wieners, it's okay, you can laugh. From Wien. Wien is German for Vienna,
Yep.
the capital of Austria. That's where that originates from. Hamburgers, from Hamburg in Germany. And we can go on and on.
Yep.
There may come a time when we might accept hummus. And I didn't know that book was going to talk about hummus. Seriously. There may come a time when we might accept hummus, baba ganoush, maqluba, karai chicken as American staples.
Yep.
They are healthier than hot dogs and burgers anyway. So this is the purpose of meetings like these, to be accepting of other people, other cultures, other religions, and by doing that, creating a harmonious society that we can be proud of, and that can be a model for other countries and other nations to follow. As America leads in everything. As America, it leads in everything. And if we lead in trying to build this harmonious society, we can make it a model for other nations to follow.
Especially France.
I pray that this meeting can be the first step in attaining that goal. I thank you once again for inviting me and my community to your church. Thank you.
I'm going to ask Muhammad Al-Mushi to come at this time. Let me just say that Imam Zia went hunting with me. He's a doggone pretty good shot. And it was fun. So Muhammad, I want to just interview you. Would you let me do that? And ask you 2 or 3 questions. What do you do?
I am actually the owner of Pyramids Hotel now in Texas.
All right.
Pyramids, as you may guess, being Egyptian by birth.
So you're Egyptian.
Egyptian by birth, American by choice.
So let me ask you this. What has it been like being a Muslim in America? No. In Dallas, Fort Worth.
I'll tell you 2 stories. One, I was on a program actually in the First Baptist Church of Arlington. That was the first weekend after September 11th. invited to a senior class there. So I went in early. Usually I go early. I'm known in my community for being on time, but you know, that's a sin that I'll have to deal with. And I sat in the corner. I remember a gentleman and his wife came early too, and he looked at me and he said, "Oh, so you're new here?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, where are you from?" So I told him, and he said, "Well, you know, who are you?" Because he thought actually I was part of the congregation. I said, "No, actually I'm the speaker today." Now, at that time I was 41 years old. And his impression of Islam and Muslims was, he looked at me and actually he sized me. I was sitting next to him and he said, "Well, shouldn't you be a little bit older with a beard?" And I said, "Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I am a Muslim. This is the way I look." So this is kind of one of the stories that I had to deal with. Another one that I will tell you that was the highlight, that I really enjoyed, telling is I was also in a program, and a lady from Beaumont called the program and asked. And this was exactly like 4 days after September 11th. I think it was Sunday after September 11th. She said, "We need to know more about you. You, in this case, being Muslims. Because knowledge leads to understanding. And understanding leads to acceptance." And I took that to heart, and I think our community took that to heart. And since then, we stopped being a very close community. Because I can almost guarantee you that 12 years ago, we were very, very reluctant to come into here. So the highlight of this whole issue is that looking at this and seeing people standing, actually, is a big accomplishment in our case. Because we're very
Christians that are here, what can they do to build relationships?
I'm going to tell him a story. I mean, since we're next to these two chairs, he told stories. I'm going to tell you another story. I feel that empathy would always kind of make you understand what the person on the other side is going through. So I'm going to give you another story that is a true story. We live in Capella. I have a wife and 3 children. My wife is German, by the way, so she is loving Imam Zia today for mentioning all these German food because I get lectures on that all the time. And it was 10 days after 9/11 again, and again, I'm telling you all this about 9/11 attachment because this is really where we define ourselves. It really defines who we are, who do we want to be, what is it that we're going to have to do in this country to be accepted and be part of it. So I was actually in a radio program and I heard someone that said that their house has been shot at that day. It was a family in Capella. This is a true story of Pakistani origin. And they had 3 shots fired at their house that day. And we went there and had a press conference, to ask for tolerance. The mayor of Capella at that time came and so on and so forth. And this was kind of a low point in my life, but I'm going to tell you how I felt as an American Muslim. I went home. My oldest son has a room in front of the house. For 10 days, we asked my son Tarek to move into his brother's room on the other side of the house, for fear of his life. And I tell this story to everybody who's a Baptist, because obviously we hear a lot of wonderful stories about Baptists, that sometimes misunderstanding and miscommunication can lead to that. And I'm going to ask you as an American, and more importantly as a Christian, would you want to live in a situation like that? Where you're at your own home, fearful for your life because somebody might shoot something at your window and God forbid hurts you or hurt your kids. So I like to tell this story because that's what leads to this. Sometimes words can be very dangerous. And I can almost guarantee you that was somebody took words and just translated them into action that day. And that's why I always caution against, hate speech and so on and so forth. And I want to comfort your congregation, by the way. The first time I met him was 2 months ago, and he started the conversation, just to let you know, he didn't never compromise on him being conservative, Baptist, evangelical, Texan, all that. He started to
baptize you.
So I really want to make sure that he didn't sell out. I'm going to come